Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice, we
have to do it twice.
Defending champions, Kenya Police face Murang'a Sale in a crucial SportPesa League match this Thursday. Both teams are seeking wins after securing draws in their previous league fixtures.
Amemtoka uzuri Tony Musa, penyeza pass, lovely!
The highly anticipated match takes place at SportPesa Arena in Murang'a. Catch the action live on KBC Channel 1 this Thursday, 18th December, beginning at 3 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Karis, niaje man? Mwanze niokole punch hapo, mwanze nifanye deal fulani hapa na kurudisha in 2 hours.
Haina noma bro, nipatia 1 hour, nimalize ma 1-2 na kutumia.
1 hour? Game inaanza saa hii in 15 minutes bana. 1 hour ni too long. Niokole manze.
Brother. Hadi game inakucheza sasa. Hadi unakopa float. Kwani kuwekelea ni lazima?
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Association of Gaming Operators Kenya kwa ushirikiano na Gambling Regulatory Authority. Ni kwa walio zaidi ya miaka 18.
Kuja twende sehemu zile za historia, tuone maajabu, tusahau kila tabu, tupige picha zitatesa sana watu. Kenya ni raha tupu, mimi ninakwambia, kila kona ni maarufu, utapafurahia. Kwanza Jumatatu, hata Jumatatu, kwa mitandao tutatesa, tukitembea huku Kenya, kila siku watauliza hapa ni wapi, hapa ni wapi, hapa ni wapi, hapa ni wapi,
Tembea Kenya, ujione.
A nation is strongest when every voice is heard. This December 18th, Kenya comes together to honor diversity, dignity, and inclusion. Join His Excellency President Dr. William Ruto as he hosts the World Minorities' Rights Day Kenya celebration from State House, Kenya. A moment to shine a spotlight on the rights of minority and marginalized communities and reflect on Kenya's journey towards equality and inclusion for all. This event will be live on KBC Channel 1 from 9 a.m. World Minorities' Rights Day, one nation, every voice matters.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. Tonight, the country has lost one of its industrious judges, one of its eminent judges, Judge Mohammed Ibrahim of the Supreme Court. We have details lined up for you, including his illustrious career. He was a Supreme Court judge, and now that means Kenya's Supreme Court bench is down to about 6 men and women after the death of Judge Mohammed Ibrahim. We have details for you tonight, but first things first, here are the highlights.
Sasa nyinyi wana ODM, nyinyi mjipange, muweke chama imara ili tuweze kwa pamoja tuone ile serikali inakuja kula mbele na tukubaliane vile tutabadilisha Kenya.
The Luo cultural extravaganza. Curtains fall on the Piny Luo Festival amid talks of political realignments ahead of the 2027 general elections.
That we reprogram some of the programs that are within the two areas that we are discussing, and the possibility of reprogramming some of the money so that it can be taken towards mitigation of the drought that we are currently experiencing.
Drought mitigation efforts. Government leaders agree on urgent and long-term measures to respond to Kenya's worsening drought situation.
Shame on you, shame on you, and shame on you if our brother's passing makes you happy.
And celebrating the life and times of a radio legend. Requiem Mass held for Festus Amimo ahead of his burial on Friday. Welcome to this broadcast. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. And of course, we start with the sad news of the death of Judge Mohammed Ibrahim. Judge Mohammed Ibrahim was a judge of the Supreme Court. You will remember the Supreme Court has about 7 judges, and Judge Mohammed Ibrahim has been in that inaugural bench since the Supreme Court was constituted under the 2010 Constitution, because he was appointed on the 16th of June 2011, obviously after an open and very competitive interview. He has been the chairperson of a Judiciary Committee on Elections, having been appointed by the Chief Justice in August 2021. Judge Mohammed Ibrahim was also elected on the 17th of May 2022 to represent the Supreme Court as a member of a Judicial Service Commission, that is JSC. He is a graduate of the Nairobi University, graduating with a Bachelor's of Law and then entering into private practice. He joined the firm of the Masters Waruhiu and Moite advocates in November of 1982 and subsequently admitted to the role of advocate in 1983 in the month of January. He was the first from among the Kenyan Somali community to be admitted to the bar as an advocate, and then progressed in the firm to become a salaried partner in 1985. That is the Messrs. Muite advocate. That is the Messrs. Waruhiu and Muite advocates, and then also becoming a full partner in 1987. Later he would establish his own practice, the Mohammed Ibrahim and Associates, in 1994, and the firm would expand to become Ibrahim and Isaac Advocates in 1997. And having litigated civil as well as constitutional cases, he would also specialize in banking, that is banking law, the company law, bankruptcy, commercial law, property law, and conveyancing law. And literally, that is who Judge Mohammed Ibrahim was up until, of course, when he was appointed as a judge of a Supreme Court on the 18th of June 2011. He's also gone through the ranks of the judiciary, to actually become a judge of the Supreme Court, who was appointed on the 16th of June 2011 as a judge of the inaugural bench of the Supreme Court. Now let's take this matter forward. In the national government and county leaders have agreed on an urgent and long-term measure to respond to Kenya's worsening drought situation, including the reprogramming of key World Bank-funded agriculture projects to prioritize immediate relief while laying foundations for lasting resilience. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe said drought response will be treated as an all-of-government response, with livestock, crops and human livelihoods addressed as one interconnected system.
An estimated 2.1 million people across 32 counties are facing heightened food and nutritional insecurity following the failure of the short rains between October and December, deepening concerns over Kenya's worsening drought situation. Discussions between the national government and county leaders focused on two World Bank-funded programs, the Food Systems Resilience Program, currently covering 13 drought-affected counties, and the National Agriculture Value Chain Development Project, which operates in the remaining 34 counties. Under the new approach, counties facing acute drought will receive immediate support, including water delivery to pastoral areas, transportation of fodder, and emergency interventions to save livestock.
We came to discuss those two programs and to look at the best ways of ensuring that Kenyans get the most benefit that they can be able to get out of the two programs that are largely funded by the World Bank, and to make sure that Kenyans will ensure that the money that is coming to the World Bank, from the World Bank, through those two programs, benefits the farmer.
Some planned activities under the programs will be paused, with funds redirected to urgent drought mitigation. Leaders agreed that at least 85% of program resources will be channeled to addressing the impact of drought on affected communities rather than administrative costs.
We recognize that we sit in a special place in that aspect to ensure that we reprogram some of the programs that are within the two areas that we are discussing, and the possibility of reprogramming some of the money so that it can be taken towards mitigation of the drought that we are currently experiencing.
The meeting also emphasized scaling up irrigation, strategic fodder reserves, livestock disease control and digital agriculture systems as Kenya moves to reduce reliance on rain-fed farming and prepare for future climate shocks.
The ambition of Kenya to move from a disease-free, to be recognized as FMD-free, and also to wipe out sesefly in our country, is part of the program that we are going to have moving forward.
Ndota Mokami for Prime Edition.
Now, President William Ruto will tomorrow hand over 4,500 keys to new homeowners at the Mukuru Affordable Housing site. And the new homeowners will be recipients of furnished houses fitted with amenities, including reticulated gas and with access to the internet. The president is also expected to hold the annual Christmas tree lighting ritual usually done at the State House from the affordable housing site. And of course, the phase 3 and 2, that is phase 3 of the AHP program at the site, consisting of 2 and 3 bedroom units, will be completed by April next year, when it will be handed over.
The house is not just the 4 walls and a roof. Really, what we are saying is that we are not just replacing a tin shack or a mud house with a stone structure. We are replacing it with the high quality of life. So they have piped gas, which has a prepaid meter. They have got, of course, a hot shower. Every block comes in with all those facilities. For social housing, they come furnished. So we're giving them a double-decker bed, a nice sofa, and a coffee table. This is real upgrade.
The President William Ruto will move what is traditionally Christmas in State House to Mukuru. So tomorrow we will also be celebrating State House Christmas in Mukuru with the President and the First Lady.
The cultural heritage of the Luo community was at full display as curtains fell on the Piny Luo Extravaganza 2025 hosted in Migori County. Cultural dances and songs from distinguished groups and artists captured the attention of the the young and old who came up obviously for that event. And here's a recap of a cultural showpiece as it went down.
Piny Luo Festival 2025 lived up to the expectations of many. It all began at Senya Beach in Nyatike constituency, where the community displayed its characteristic heritage, featuring boat racing for both men and women.
Kisumu, Siaya, Migori, Siaya.
Pot balancing, tug of war and wrestling. The captivating pieces of art continued at the Rongo University grounds as the Luo community from across the country and beyond gathered to bring down the curtains on what has been a culturally appealing extravaganza. President William Ruto, who was the chief guest at the closing ceremony, jumped to the cultural dances with the crowd cheering on. The cheers continued at the announcement by President William Ruto that a cultural center will be constructed at the Thimlich Ohinga shrine, where the Luo community heritage is richly preserved.
We are very proud to be associated with you, and we want to commend those who started this festival, and I want to assure you that the government of Kenya is always going to fund and to support this cultural event because it brings people together. Nataka tusimame dakika moja kwa heshima ya ndugu yetu Raila Amolo Odinga kwa sababu sherehe hii inafanyika kwa mara ya kwanza bila yeye. 1 minute, please.
A moment of silence was also observed in honor of Raila Odinga, who, until his death, was the patron of the Luo Traditions Governing Council. The largely successful ceremony ended with musical pieces from the Nyanza region's top crooners. As the curtains fall on the 5th edition of the Piny Luo Festival hosted here in Migori, the Luo cultural leaders have made a personal appeal for the inclusion of indigenous languages such as Doluo in the education system for the sake of preserving indigenous cultures. Reporting for Channel 1 from the Piny Luo Festival in Migori County, my name is Wycliffe Okech.
And still keeping up with the Luo Piny Festival, President William Ruto and the ODM party leader Oburu Odinga have hinted at a pre-election pact between UDA and ODM parties before the 2027 political contest. While gracing the 5th Piny Luo Festival in Migori County, the president said the two parties should consolidate their bases in readiness for the polls, as Oburu vowed to deliver votes in exchange for a bigger share of the government.
As the general election of 2027 nears by the day, political formations are already taking shape. This as the ruling UDA party and ODM seemingly begin courtship in readiness for the 2027 contest. The camaraderie between the two parties was today displayed by ODM leader Oburu Odinga during the 5th Piny Luo Festivals in Migori County, where he said ODM will deliver millions of votes in exchange for a broader and bigger share of the government.
Your Excellency, this is a government which we did not form with you. We did not vote for you. And yet you have given us the permanent secretaries. You have given us the ministers. Your Excellency, I am sure when we consolidate this party of ours called ODM, and we form the next government, you are going to give us more and more and more because we shall be part of that government.
When he took the podium, the head of state said the two political vehicles should first galvanize their support base in readiness to form government together.
Sasa nyinyi wana ODM, nyinyi mujipange, muweke chama imara, ili tuweze kwa pamoja, tuunde ile serikali inakuja kula mbele, na tukubaliane vile tutabadilisha Kenya.
This was the same song echoed by the cabinet secretaries drawn from ODM, nicknamed experts and other ODM leaders, including governors and lawmakers from Nyanza region.
Remember and imagine that with our intellectual capacity, from 1963 to 2024 is when the first Luo got opportunity to be a cabinet secretary in the National Treasury.
But the next government will not be formed in rallies. It will be formed by votes. And that is why as a community, we are embarking on a drive as a party to register 1.5 million new voters as a community. Your Excellency, tushikane, tusonge mbele na hiyo.
Kuna matatizo hapa kwa ziwa hapa. Migingo yuko hapa, Migingo yuko hapa. Rais, unajua Waganda wanatoka kule, wanakuja kutusumbua hapa. Tunakuomba uingilie maneno ya Migingo kabisa.
The president also pledged to ensure equal distribution of the national cake as part of addressing historical injustices in the region.
Ya kwamba kumekuwa na ubaguzi pale nyuma, ubaguzi wa siasa na ubaguzi wa maendeleo. Ni kweli ama si kweli? And that is why we must correct, especially the development injustice that have been denied this region.
Other notable figures in the popular Luo event were Ida Odinga, the spouse of the late Raila Odinga. Give us Minor Prime Edition.
A political story takes us to a very fast breather right here on Prime Edition. We're coming back with more news, including what is happening in business and sports. Don't go too far.
Bana, wachana na simu, si utatuangusha.
Pore madam, naekelea kabet, lazima niomoke leo.
Bet unaekelea mpaka ukipeleka ndudhi, beta hizi ngoja.
Nimejaribu kuacha, nimejikuta naekelea. Imeni-affect kiasi.
Hapana, uko na shida. Chukua control, know your limits.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na Association of Gaming Operators Kenya kwa ushirikiano na Gambling Regulatory Authority. Mchezo huu unaweza kuleta uraibu. Chukua control, cheza kistaarabu. Ni kwa walio zaidi ya miaka 18.
I have to go back to my country.
Tulia. Kila kitu kitakuwa sawa.
It's great quality. Why doesn't it sell?
It hasn't sold at all. But this rice has a good reputation in China.
I have many Chinese customers, so I can help you sell some.
Magia! How did this happen?
Food reflux and he choked. After Diaru fed him, he laid him flat.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition. Now, the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, has secured a decisive court victory in long-running land disputes after the Environment and Lands Court in Machakos ruled that the broadcaster is the lawful beneficial owner of more than 500 hectares of land located in Komarok of Machakos County, where its transmission station is located. Delivering the judgment, Lady Justice Nelly Madheka ruled that the contested parcel situated along Kangundo Road was lawfully acquired by the government of Kenya through compulsory acquisition for public broadcasting purposes, and that the original owner The Komarok Ranching and Farming Cooperative Society Limited was duly and fully compensated.
Kenya Broadcasting Corporation has bagged a major win at the Environment and Lands Courts in Machakos in a case dating back to 2013. This is after Lady Justice Nelly Madheka, sitting at Machakos High Court on Wednesday, 17 December 2025, declared that KBC owns the land as a trustee of the government of Kenya. The judge issued a permanent injunction barring the cooperative and its agents from entering, subdividing, disposing of, or interfering with the property, and awarded general damages of 1 million shillings for trespass alongside costs of the suit.
He has indeed ruled that the land was lawfully acquired by the government for purposes of use by Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. We hope this matter, which has been running for a long time, close to almost 12 years, will come to rest. Another, the suit land will be safeguarded for purposes of KBC so that it can continue with its functions.
KBC's counsel Kinyua Mureithi, who has handled the case since its onset, welcomed the decision, saying it's a win for justice.
It has been a tedious journey, especially for Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, where at one point in time, some people decided on the suit land, and the court had to issue an injunction, temporary injunction. But today, the court has issued a mandatory injunction prohibiting anybody from trespassing into the suit land, which now rightfully belongs to the government, and the KBC has all the rights to use the suit land.
The ruling brings to a close a case that has been lying in court for over 12 years, in which KBC accused the cooperative of illegally trespassing and attempting to subdivide the land, threatening critical national broadcasting infrastructures. The landmark ruling by the Machakos High Court is a win to taxpayers' money and property, and a warning to land grabbers in the country. Ruth Wamboi reporting from Machakos Law Court.
Indeed, a big win for the national broadcaster. And the late Cyrus Girongo died as a result of crush injuries to the chest and abdomen, as well as spinal injuries due to blunt force trauma. This is according to the post-mortem results released by family pathologist Dr. Joseph Ndungu. The results also revealed there were fractures on both of Girongo's lower limbs, and his heart was perforated. Crush injuries on Girongo's abdomen also showed impact on the liver, ruptured blood vessels, and damaged spinal cord.
It had multiple injuries. There were multiple fractures. There was a fracture involving the right hand, 2 fractures involving the right hand, and then there were fractures of both lower limbs. The lower limbs are the legs. There was a crush injury to the chest with multiple ribs fracture. There was perforation of the heart with the rupture of most of the major vessels that connect the heart. There were also bleeding into the chest cavity, and also crush injuries going to the abdomen with the crush of the liver, with also bleeding into the abdominal cavity.
And we continue to condole with the family of the late Cyrus Shakalaka Kwa Girongo. Now, family, friends and colleagues gathered today at the St. Andrew's Catholic Church in Jacaranda to pay their last respects to the late Festus Amimo. Remembered as a selfless man, Amimo dedicated his life to serving the less fortunate. Speakers described him as a compassionate mentor whose guidance and wisdom touched many lives.
The body of the late Festus Amimo arrived at St. Andrew's Catholic Church in Jacaranda, where mourners gathered for the final rites. A devout Catholic, the late Amimo was an active member of the Catholic Men's Association. His faith, speakers said, was evident not only in church, but also in his professional life.
And we had also had activities every normal thing he does. going to pilgrimages and also visiting the less fortunate. He was very supportive of that.
Colleagues remembered him as a dedicated professional whose commitment to duty was exemplary.
Tulimfahamu Festus kwa kuwa alikuwa ni mfanyikazi mwenye bidii na pia mfanyikazi ambaye alijumuika nasi sote kwa njia nzuri.
Born of humble beginnings, Festus Amimo rose to become a respected national broadcaster whose influential voice resonated strongly with the Luo listeners and fellow journalists.
He always counseled us to use this power to create change and ask for a better Kenya.
His influence extended to political circles, with leaders hailing Amimo as a dependable man whose mentorship guided many through their careers.
And I know so many people he taught how to speak in public. He guided us, told us to speak in good Luo words that we didn't know.
Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ocheng urged Kenyans to exercise restraint on social media, warning that posting unverified or insensitive content could further traumatize their grieving family.
Shame on you, and shame on you if our brother's passing makes you happy, gives you ink to write, because we know the person Amimo was.
Reading the family eulogy, his son Kennedy Amimo recalled fond memories of his father, describing him as a loving and determined parent whose values of kindness, faith and hard work shaped their lives.
To me, he was more than a father. He was the brother I always wanted, the friend I could laugh with, talk to, and lean on. Our bond went beyond titles.
The late Festus Amimo will be laid to rest at his home in Awase this Friday, the 19th of December 2025. Mariambo reporting for the Prime Edition.
Again, we continue to extend our condolences to the Festus Amimo family and, of course, the listeners and fans of Mayenga FM. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba has urged universities to start preparations for the first cohort of the competence-based education students who will be transitioning to the universities in 2029. Speaking during the 14th KBC University graduation ceremony, Ogamba called on universities to work together with the Commission for University Education in developing programs that align with the competency-based education and training in readiness for the admission of the first cohort.
The 14th KBC University graduation ceremony was graced by Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba. The CS urged universities to start preparing for the admission of the first cohort of the competency-based education who will be transitioning to the universities in 2029.
Competency-based education and training will be transitioning to universities in the year 2029. As part of strategic forward thinking, our universities like this one should adequately anticipate and prepare for these transitions.
Ogamba disclosed that the ministry has developed a draft national implementation roadmap to guide universities in the transition, among them continuous capacity building of university staff on competency-based education.
We've already achieved key milestones, such as the alignment of the teacher education programs with the competency-based education framework, and will continue to build the capacity of university staff on the competency-based education.
Universities were also urged to embrace creativity in revenue generation and resource mobilization for self-sustainability.
Universities should engage in cutting-edge research and innovation that address the challenges and problems of today, such as climate change. This way, the potential to build and consolidate fruitful partnerships both locally and abroad will grow, thereby assisting the universities to raise resources.
The University Council Chairperson and Acting Chancellor Dr. Sarah Ruto noted that the job market demands a competency-based education approach, urging graduates to develop a continuous learning mindset in a bid to remain relevant.
And in being a learner for life, I hope that you're going to continue to build a mindset muscle that will allow you to see opportunity, that will allow you to be creative. Not just to listen and sit back. Train yourself to think. And to think, you must nurture it.
At least 4,018 graduates received various degrees and diplomas. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Let's go back to the just concluded Luo Piny Festival and the Thimlich Ohinga in Nyatike constituency, Migori County, is an archaeological site that remains close to the heart of the Luo community due to its traditional setup depicting a traditional Luo homestead. The site carries the heritage of the Nilotic community and has remained an important educational site for historians, having been officially recognized by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, that is UNESCO. And before the conclusion of that festival, that is in Migori County, our reporter Wycliffe Okech visited the site and filed the following report.
Traditions form the critical definitive aspect of every indigenous community. Such is evident here at Thimlich Ohinga, a Luo connotation that loosely translates to a frighteningly dense forest that the community's forefathers used as a fortress in which they lived and provided for their families.
Thimlich Ohinga is derived from three Luo names. They are named Thim, Lich, and Ohinga. Now, Thim generally is something that is forested, heavily covered with forest. Lich is the scary nature of it. It's a thick forest, sort of. But the Ohinga is now the enclosures, putting of stones together. That is what we call Ohinga. Right. So it is a scary, so it's like the Ohinga were enshrined in a thicket, something that had dense of trees.
Here is Kochieng, the Luo word that means the home of Ochieng or Kochieng enclosure. The enclosure is surrounded by a dry architectural stone wall built with absolute ingenuity without cement or any other construction material used today. Built over 500 years ago, this dry stone wall is a representation of the modern-day homestead perimeter wall the Luo community has over the time identified with this particular archaeological site that they believe is a representation of their forefathers' typical homestead. Within the enclosure is a setup that reflects the format of a traditional Luo homestead. Charles Otieno Aongo, the curator at Thimlich Ohinga, welcomes us to a modern homestead format and extraction of the ancient Kochieng enclosure. According to Aongo, Ochieng always gave priority to the first wife by ensuring her house stood at the center facing the gate, with the houses of the other wives sitting either side of the first wife's house.
This structure gave prominence to the first wife, even if they had children or not. This home belongs to the first wife, and that is why that gate is directly pointing to her door. If she exits this place, you will be having trouble even with other wives.
His sons' houses were built closer to the gate as they were more energetic to protect the homestead against any external aggression. Also within the enclosure was a cattle pen and a granary. Many Luo polygamous homesteads went on to depict this format, although modernity is unfortunately eroding such traditions.
I think we can preserve it by putting more emphasis on facilities like this, encouraging group visits or family visits, so then they get to know the importance of actually doing those activities that people are abandoning today.
And is presently used by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization to promote global peace by fostering cultural understanding. And as the 5th edition of Piny Luo Festival continues in Migori County, members of the community have thronged the site to trace their heritage, which includes migratory patterns and the way of life of their forefathers. Well, modernity and technological advancements may be posing a threat to the stability of indigenous cultures. That notwithstanding, the elders of the Luo community are continuously reminding the youth to visit places like this to learn about the ways of life of their forefathers. Reporting for Channel 1 from Thimlich, Ohinga Cultural Heritage in Migori County, my name is Wycliffe Okech.
Thank you very much, Wycliffe Okech, for that history down the line. Of course, getting to understand the Luo culture even better. Now, a 33-year-old man has been charged with the murder of his wife, Caroline Akinyi-Ochieng, in Kajiado County. According to the prosecution, the accused, Washington Bill Were Otieno, killed his wife, Caroline, between the night of November 17th and the morning of November 18th, 2025, at Pine Brook Premier Villa in Kitengela within Isinya Sub-County, Kajiado County. Lady Justice Christine Mioli was informed that the prosecution will rely on evidence gathered during investigations into the circumstances surrounding Caroline's death and will be lining up 11 witnesses to testify.
17th day of November 2025 and the morning of 18th day of November 2025 at Pine Brook Premier Villa at Kitengela Township in Isinya Sub-County within Kajiado County, you murdered Caroline Akinyi-Ochieng. Is it true or not true?
In the process, and then the pre-trial conference so to be done this evening that we can agree.
The dates are really moving forward to next year. And then also take directions for the pre-trial conference. Yes. Any other directions they will give.
The National Land Commission and the Community Land Action now have signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at strengthening natural resource management and monitoring of community land rights and interests in the country. Speaking during the event at the National Land Commission headquarters in Nairobi, the National Land Commission Chief Executive Officer, that is, I'll take that again, the CEO is Kabale Arero, said the MOU seeks to promote the achievement of national development goals.
The agreement sets the stage for a collaborative framework on the management and resolution of land disputes across the counties. Under the MOU,
Clan brings the voice and trust of communities. The National Land Commission brings its constitutional mandate and leadership. Together we can turn policy into real protection on the ground.
The two parties will collaborate in land dispute resolutions through investigations, alternative dispute resolution, and traditional dispute resolution mechanisms on community land rights and interests, development of a land rights monitoring framework, and interventions on historical land injustice resolutions. Other areas of collaboration include research and documentation on community land rights and interests, monitoring the transitions from group ranches to community land, promoting the monitoring of land rights and interests in communities across counties, and facilitating learning and policy dialogue.
We know the pressures that are on our lands right now, competing interests from private sector, from all over, and all these are just leading to more insecure land tenancies.
The MOU that also details the roles of each party, terms of termination and funding of activities will run until April 2027.
NLC will convene technical working groups. As you could hear from the introductions, we have our technical team represented in this meeting, mobilize resources, provide data, and ensure processes feed into relevant policies. We have our commissioners who are policy makers with us. On the other hand, CLAN will also organize community resource persons, implement interventions in target counties, and monitor transitions on the ground.
Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
There's no reason to break up with you because of something that happened before I was even a part of your life.
What do you see in that Lucia that Daniela doesn't have? What's so special about that girl that makes you head over heels for her? Oh, who knows what trick she did to get into your head. Come on, tell me.
I don't know, Mom. Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima
tunajifunza umuhimu wa maziwa ya mbuzi,
kisha uwezekano wa kupanda mimea mingi katika kijisehemu kidogo cha ardhi.
Kilimo tunapata mboga hatununuangi sisi, matunda hatununui, na pesa ukitaka kila siku lazima upate pesa.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1
kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Welcome back. Before we do business, a very quick one here on KBC's continued win this week. And KBC's Joseph Wahungu and Laura Nayere are the recipients of the first runner-up in the Alcohol and Control Reporting and second runner-up in the UHC and Health Technology Features category in the second edition of the NCD Alliance's Kenya Media Awards. The awards owner, exceptional journalism that fuels the conversation on universal health coverage and the intersection with key public health and development issues, while lauding the winners who were featured during the awards ceremony, during the awards ceremony held at a Nairobi hotel. Organizers of the event encouraged, pledged to continue partnering for the state in shaping health narratives for the benefit and betterment, better understanding of the common people.
The colorful award ceremony brought together audio, visual, digital and print journalists in the health desk with an aim to celebrate exceptional storytelling in matters of universal health coverage and its intersection with key public health and development issues. One after the other, those who excelled were presented with awards and certificates for their role in telling health stories. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation's Joseph Wahungu bagged the first runner-up in the Alcohol and Control Reporting category. Laura Nayere was announced the runner-up in the UHC and Health Technology Features category. While attributing these awards to behind-the-scenes teamwork that made their stories a success, the journalists said the recognition only strengthens their resolve to keep telling similar stories.
We will write more. We will endeavor. I will endeavor to ensure that I have, become a voice of people like you, so that we can shape policy, we can shape the narrative, so that even those people who are putting together policies, putting together measures to reach out to people like you, do more.
This motivates me to tell the stories, and like I just said, you can never go wrong with health stories. So this motivates me to tell more stories of impact and stories that will bring social change.
Organizers of the awards encouraged more newsmen and women to tell public health and development stories in the run-up towards a healthier nation, even as they pledged to support this generation of storytellers.
As we start next year, we continue with what we've achieved to ensure that we are speaking to people, celebrating excellence in reporting. Excellence in reporting.
The Media Council of Kenya, on its part, calling on the broadcasters who unpack health stories to be wary of media ethics and protect their sources from fresh trauma brought about by the questions they ask. The council further urged journalists to also watch out for their own mental health while detailing the stories of persons affected by non-communicable diseases.
As journalists, it begins to affect us. And so we must be very alert to check on how we ourselves are doing. When the pressure is overwhelming, are we seeking help?
From the entire Broadcasting House team, we say congratulations, Joseph and Laura.
Time for us now to do business, and the operationalization of the Kenyan National Convention Bureau will help the growth of the meetings and conference business in Kenya. The Cabinet Secretary, or rather the Cabinet, approved the setting up of the Bureau on Monday, saying the move will help Kenya tap billions in the MICE business. Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano says the development of the Bomas International Convention Center is expected to boost Nairobi as the MIE hub in the region. Speaking during the Tourism Excellence Award, Miano says Kenya is witnessing a major rebound in tourism numbers, with the country set to welcome 3 million visitors in 2025 and 5 million by the year 2027. Last week, the government launched a 5-year Magical Kenya strategy, which seeks to grow tourism arrivals to 7 million visitors.
Through this initiative, which we truly thank TRA for, we are solemnly affirming our commitment to inclusive growth, responsible tourism, and fruitful public-private collaboration. Last year, Kenya's tourism sector achieved robust recovery and growth, and throughout the week, we have had the numbers, we have had the earnings, the jobs.
Tourism calls upon the collaboration of everybody. For us, it's for each and every one of us to play his or our role, be it in the public sector or the private sector. And I am sure if we do this, we will be able to succeed.
As an authority, we reaffirm our commitment to enhance standards development, strengthen classification and accreditation systems, working closely with all sector players to ensure quality and global competitiveness.
There's a need for practical cross-border collaboration if the global green transition is to move from ambition to impact. Estonia's ambassador to Kenya, Daniel Rick, says the shift to a green economy can no longer be pursued in isolation. The Estonian ambassador says Estonia has developed Kijani Match, a clean tech-focused business matchmaking platform linking Estonian and Kenyan companies in areas such as energy efficiency, agri-tech and digital forestry. Eric is urging Kenyan enterprises to position themselves as co-creators by leveraging the platform's advisory support to pilot technologies locally and build scalable business models that support job creation, skills transfer and long-term green industrial growth.
We see Kenya as a doorway to Africa for Estonian companies, and hopefully Estonia will also be the doorway to the European Union for Kenyan companies. So what we're really looking is everything in innovation. So smart solutions. In Estonia, what we are best at is after the infrastructure is put into place, we help the infrastructure operate in a more efficient manner. And I think that we see different solutions like M-Pesa, for example. So we see that Kenya is really on the cusp of innovation, and that's I think where we can work together.
And we think that by offering some of those solutions to Kenyan companies that are trying to achieve the same is something that we need to do. But we had a challenge. How do we find these Kenyan companies? And how do we match them to Estonian companies? The database in Estonia is quite available, but we don't know who's doing what in Kenya. So that's how Kijani Match came in. So it's an opportunity for Kenyan companies to go on the site, register who they are, what they do, give us as much information and what they want to achieve. That allows us then to be able to find them credible partners on the Estonian side who are also doing something similar to them and then put that together. So that's what Kijani Match is out to achieve.
More than 75% of our enterprises are also small and medium-sized enterprises. So we have a really good knowledge and experience how to involve in those smaller enterprises in the whole value chain. So what is important, I think, is that if you create those partnerships, then you may have one leading partner who is bigger, but at the same time, there is a condition that you need to involve smaller enterprises into the whole value chain.
Defending champions, Kenya Police face Murang'a Sin in a crucial SportPesa League match this Thursday. Both teams are seeking wins after securing draws in their previous league fixtures.
Amemtoka uzuri Tony Musa, penyeza pass, lovely!
The highly anticipated match takes place at SportPesa Arena in Murang'a. Catch the action live on KBC Channel 1 this Thursday, 18th December, beginning at 3 p.m. live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchambuzi wa soka.
CAF ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EABL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee ku-watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Business again, and British multinational alcoholic beverage company EABL has reached an agreement to sell its 65% stake in the East African Breweries Limited EABL for 300 billion shillings to Asahi of Japan. The London-listed owner of the brands that include Johnnie Walker and Smirnoff will keep a foothold in the Kenyan market through a licensing agreement with EABL, according to regulatory filings.
The deal values EABL at 618 billion shillings and will reduce Diageo's debt by a net debt-to-earnings ratio of 0.25 times. The company's debt is currently above its target range by almost 3 times. In the 12 months to June, EABL reported net sales of 128 billion shillings and reported net debt at 29 billion shillings. The transaction involves the sale of Diageo's 100% shareholding in Diageo-Kenya Limited, which holds the majority stake in EABL. The acquisition also includes a 53.68% direct stake in UDVK, a Kenyan-based spirits producer and importer that is currently fully consolidated by EABL. On the other hand, the Japanese group said in a statement that it expected EABL to remain listed on the Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania stock exchanges once the deal is complete. Asahi said the deal would give it a leading platform in Kenya and the East African market, which is expected to deliver long-term growth driven by population increase and economic expansion. The company added that the business had a rich brand portfolio, including beer brands such as Senator, Chrome and Kenya Cane. In recent years, the company has exited its units in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Ethiopia and the Seychelles. By offloading capital-intensive brewing operations while retaining high-margin licensing and distribution rights, the transaction is expected to close in the second half of 2026, pending the necessary regulatory approvals across East Africa.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Now, former world marathon champion Tegla, my apologies, former world record holder in the marathon Tegla Rorupe has been honored for her continued contribution to the growth of the sport and peace initiatives in Kenya. The African National Olympic Committee Association, ANOCA, in partnership with the International Judo Union, awarded Lorupe with a Medal of Recognition for her leadership and commitment to the Judo for Peace program. The award acknowledges her role in using sport as a tool for social change, particularly among refugee communities.
It's an honor coming from IGU, Judo International Federation. The recognition is for the work that I have been contributing to sports, regardless of me being marathoner, but I've been supporting all the sports. Be it judo, which I've been supporting a lot. We have also taekwondo kids in Kawangware, and all these sum up together.
It has been a great pride for the very hard work that has been done throughout the years by Tegla in nucleating this refugees program at the global level and also at the continental level, now that we are happy to have the presence of refugee athletes.
And the national men's and women's rollball team stormed into the finals of the ongoing Rollball World Cup after winning their respective semi-final stage today in Dubai. The women's team, who are defending the title and seeking their fourth world trophy, defeated Iran 4-2 in a tough semi-final. The women's team will also face India in the final scheduled for tomorrow. India saw France in the second semi-final. Meanwhile, the men's team, who are also seeking to retain their title, had to dig deep before seeing off Iran 6-5. Kenya had qualified for the semi-final after defeating Saudi Arabia 9-2 in the quarter-final. A total of 28 countries are taking part in this year's championship, the 7th edition of the biannual global event. And Gor Mahia dislodged KCB at the top of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League standings after defeating Kakamega Homeboys by a goal to nil at the Moi International Sports Centre Kasarani. Elsewhere, Tusker FC narrowly edged out by Nairobi United. They lost by a goal to nil, while Mathare United pipped Sofapaka 1-0. So Mara Sugar and Shabana FC share the spoils after playing to a barren draw at Gusii Stadium.
We coming from a very difficult situation. We lost a match, and then the FC, and then we drew. And so, first half we were very good. What we wanted to do, we were happy with how we did it. Second half, obviously, the opponent also is also not an easy side, making efforts to score. What we wanted today was to get back to the winning ways, and we did it.
Tumepoteza mechi na si vizuri, manake kuna vile tulikuwa tumepanga, lakini haikuenda vizuri na itabidi turudi kwa drawing board tufanye marekebisho mahali tunaona kuna upungufu kidogo, manake imeonekana kuna upungufu. Wanasema ilikuwa rahisi
The famous phrase drawing board. I'll be talking about the SportPesa League at the end of this bulletin, but right now, the Kenya Academy of Sports, KAS, is working on ensuring that all sporting disciplines are included in the National Talent Development Holiday Camps in the near future. The camps, set up in 7 regions in the country during these December holidays, are currently accommodating about 12 sporting disciplines.
With the Kenyan government focused on talents development, especially sporting talents, the National Talents Development Camps have seen a growing number of athletes since 2023, when the camps were first introduced.
You know, some people, when they've reached a certain stage, they say, nimefika, and they don't put more effort, not knowing that some people might not be chosen here, but can come and overtake them. Mine is for them to keep doing their best to make sure that they make it to the national team, and even making it to the national team, making sure that they come with medals whenever they are taken for the international competitions.
Only 2,000 athletes made it to the 2023 camp countrywide, but in 2025, the camps set up in 7 regions in the country have accommodated 3,550 athletes, but those numbers are only distributed in 12 sporting disciplines, including football, hockey, volleyball, swimming, lawn and table tennis, and chess, among others.
I would like to see the junior teams, each sports discipline, having so many, even 75% of the athletes from this camp making it to those teams.
There is a demand for other disciplines to be included in the near future to level the playing field for all the young athletes looking to take up the path of sport.
We are not only working with the able athletes, but also the challenged ones, so that at least even them, whenever they're going for their championship, the federations can have at least, we are helping them to get good athletes to represent the country.
And we actually hope
we could have more of these holiday camps, because they have been a real success, other than keeping our children busy during the holidays, is sharpening their talents. And as you know, Kenya, we are not short of talent. The raw talent is really there and is available. So it is a talent that we need to nurture in all fields.
The December camps entered the 6th day today, with the players fighting for the 400 available slots for the elite camp to be set up in Nairobi next year.
That's the sport for tonight, and just some news for you. John Jacob Kioria and I are dropping the suits right now. Tomorrow we'll be at the SportPesa Arena in Murang'a to make sure that we get the correct broadcasts of Murang'a Seal versus Kenya Police. It's going to be live on KBC Channel 1 from 3 p.m. Sisi tutaonea mpira kwa ground. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Like you say, that's all we'll do. It's time for us to put a cap on Prime Edition. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Have yourself a fantastic night ahead. God bless.
For charity, dial *419 hash.
Nakuona. Kuja hivi sasa. Ona. Man! Mama tu! Toka sumoje! Oya! What is man? Buddha! Siku umedial *419 hash. Chika. Yani hujui kwa option 3 kuna Pro Box. Pro Box. Usisahau wa *419 hash option 3 iko Pro Box ya bahati. Na ikikuangukia, ufunguo utakufikia mahali popote ulipo. Usisahau.
DJ D-Rich, the baddest.
Yes, I smile for we, manze Jamaica. Greetings, good people, wherever you are. A Super Wednesday maze kuifanya tena. Shughuli ni kubwa, ni ina yard extra at KBC Channel 1, manze. Blessings to the Most High Jah Rastafari. It's a Super December, manze. Kuna waka shambra ni mingi, lakini lazima reggae tukuchezee, au sio?
Yes,
I and I, the positive warrior, kwenye social media zetu zote at Mali Moses, at KBC Channel 1, but I'm not alone every time, manze nikona Brigadier Wakimi.
Yes, greetings, man. Welcome to Inayard Extra, and I go by the name DJ D-Rage at D_Rage254. Each and everywhere is where you're gonna find me. Pale IG, pale kwenye X, unaweza tuma request, ama pia unaweza tumia hashtag Inayard Extra. Welcome all, I'll see you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Blessings, manze. December yako nakupelekaje mimi?
December iko fiti.
Yes, sir.
Give thanks to the Most High Jah.
Tarehe ni 17.
Bana, give thanks.
Sindio?
Mwaka ndio inaenda kuisha.
Ina colors.
Manze.
Na tuna appreciate kwa sababu manze kuna wengine hawajafika hapa, so manze ni nguvu za Jah.
Imekuwa tu ni favor ya Jah.
Ni favor ya Jah.
His grace and his blessings.
Kabisa.
And we give thanks each and every time.
Yes,
and we give thanks also to amazing people. Wenye wamekuwa na sisi
toka January all the way from January. We give thanks, it's a blessing, manze. Shukran sana kwa kuchukua time yako na kuanza kufungua KBC na kuangalia Inayard Extra na pia Y254. Si ndio?
Kabisa. Hebu nikuulize, which for you maybe is the biggest reggae song or dancehall song of 2025?
Of 2025?
Yeah.
Wow. I have a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot.
Ama tuulize mafans tusikie.
Tuulize mafans, but mimi ya Alpha Blondy na Koffi Olomide. The combination, hiyo kumbi ilikuwa ni deadly sana. Ni reggae music, but also mazee kama Alpha Blondy, how big is amefuse na akatuweka hapo katikati. But reggae music ni mingi. Najua Reg, you have a couple of them. The people back at home watatuelezea, si ndio?
The biggest reggae or dancehall song of 2025.
Yes, sir.
Hashtag to use is hashtag Inayard Extra.
Napenda hiyo.
Yeah, man.
Sisi kama Chelsea pia tuli wanasema ni cup kidogo lakini hawajawahi shinda. Yes, wale wameingia na sisi kwenye social media zetu at KBC Channel 1, bonga na sisi tuambie pande gani una represent manze, December yako iko namna gani, si ndio?
Yes, sir.
But right now manze, unasemaje Reg tukipanda?
Smile Jamaica, the Honey Pot Rhythm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Wagwan.